The Shark Deck.
Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. I loved Brian Posehn's special, Posehna non Grata. I'd love to put it on the best of 2023 list, but it did come out at the end of 2022. He released it as not a pay-per-view, but it was like one of those specials you could buy for a limited time for like 14 days. But it is up on YouTube now with commercials. Now, note to Brian and all other comedians who post your special on YouTube, I get that you want to make a couple bucks. I get that you want to monetize. No problem. I'm with you. Me too. But can you or someone on your team take 1 minute and place the markers that tell the commercials where to go? Could you just place them so they're not mid-sentence? Maybe find when you're segueing from topic to topic, maybe put them there. That said, Brian's special was so good that I fought through the various commercial breaks. Absolutely loved it. Now, maybe it's because I'm also a Star Wars nerd who likes the rock music, but it immediately drew me in. It's filmed in a room, I guess I would call it. So usually a comedy special is at like a big theater, right? You're picturing like the big wide stage and there's a balcony and all that. No, this is a room. Picture something more like the shape of a shoebox. So not that wide, but deep and not that deep. And it's just Brian at the other end of the room, and I felt like I was in a club in Montreal or perhaps Chicago where this one was filmed. This was filmed at the Beat Kitchen. I think it's a little bit over an hour, and I really, really liked it. So check out Brian Posehn, Posehna non Grata. Fey and Amy Poehler, they're going on tour together. It's the Restless Leg Tour, limited run, 4 shows so far. I bet they wind up adding more. It is described as a celebration of 30 years of friendship with an evening of jokes, iconic stories, and conversational entertainment. This will start April 29th in Washington, D.C. They're also playing Chicago, Boston, and Atlantic City. Maria Bamford is trying to get a web series started. This one is called No CD. It's billed as a comedy series about intrusive thoughts. The description: at the age of 10 years old, Maria Bamford began getting unwanted intrusive thoughts, a type of OCD. By the age of 51, she was unable to leave her home. She made the following internet content as a cry for help. She says she wants to tackle this specific type of OCD because it's really creepy, sometimes stigmatized, and the therapy is really funny. It's really quite scary. In the first episode, she struggles to go to her friend's house for a simple meal. Her intrusive thoughts are played by Maria Bamford in a clown wig, and they keep butting in with violent fantasies and unwelcome commentary, which she tries to ward off in ways both silly and dark. She has launched a Kickstarter to try and produce 2 more episodes, and in the future up to 12, so far there's only 1, and that's depending on audience interest. On her Kickstarter page, Bamford breaks down the cost of shooting a web series while paying a crew fairly and making a living for herself as well. Let's check that out. On her Kickstarter, it says, what is intrusive thoughts OCD? Well, have you ever had extremely creepy, unwanted thoughts, something random that weirded you out, like my guinea pig looks sexy? Or I wonder if I'm a serial killer, despite the fact that I'm a vegetarian agoraphobic with a master's degree in library science and I haven't left my reclusive yurt in a decade? Or I always say the words, bless us Jesus, Muhammad, Yahweh, Oprah, 34 times while squeezing my buttocks to prevent myself from driving my Harley into a grunt of senior citizens? Or do you avoid looking into your mother's eyes when you high-five her for fear of poisoning her liver? Or do you have your spouse get the ice cubes for your drink so you won't stuff hundreds of ice cubes down your throat, being the first person to self-suicide by drowning upright on land? Or do you never drink iced tea because T stands for boobs, and you're concerned you're going to reach out and touch the server with boobs who brought you tea, which stands for boobs? She then gets serious and said, I've had several versions of this debilitating mental health symptom since the age of 10. After Googling the symptoms online when I was 35, I discovered it was a type of OCD and finally got help to change my life. I was finally able to participate in important activities such as friendship and being at parties, thanks to exposure response prevention therapy. I wanted to share my own experience so others who are too scared to ask for help might have a few laughs and get the courage to be free of suffering from something that is absolutely ridiculous. She writes, why doesn't Maria pay for this herself? I sort of have. I fronted the cost of 1 episode, but I only want to make the series if there's enough interest to fund it. Kickstarter budgeting and feedback from showbiz professionals have told me how to budget this. It's a ton of money, but it's not that much here in Hollyweird, and I need to pay artists. Rent runs $2,000 a month for a shared beanbag chair. I'll also pay myself so I don't have to travel on the road every week as a comic. Taxes and 10% fee from Kickstarter. Here are the real numbers. Per episode budget: director/camera, $1,500. Second AD/camera, $1,500. Production supplies, $500. Editing, 20 hours, $3,000. Acting, $1,000. Writing, $1,000. Producing, $1,000. Social media management, $3,500. I think we can find a better deal than that, Maria. Total, $13,000 for 1 episode. 3 episodes makes it $39,000. 40% estimated tax rate on funds received is $26,000 Kickstarter fee, processing fee. So she's looking to make $72,300. Then it says, wait, who are you again? Maria writes, I'm a person who Stephen Colbert called the funniest person on earth, and Judd Apatow is called the funniest person in the world. Is that something? As I record this, looks like she's well on her way with 2 weeks to go. My San Antonio asked Joe Coy, hey, you haven't done your podcast, The Koi Pond, since late 2021. Are you taking a break or is it over? Joe Coy said, I really just stopped doing it even though the name is so great. I found myself doing it only because it was this trending thing that people were doing. In my heart, I don't want to be known for a podcast. I want to be known for stand-up. I only want that to be attached to my name. That's my passion. That's my love. Just for Laughs Vancouver starts tonight, runs through February 25th. Let's take a look at who's playing tonight. I haven't done this in a while. I like doing these. 7 o'clock, Gianmarco Ceresi. I saw him up at Montreal, and he was fantastic. At 7:30, Maestro, which is an elimination-style improv show that brings a mixed bag of improvisers from around the city. Elimination, I like it. 8 o'clock, Vancouver Special. Looks like that's a bunch of locals. 8 o'clock, New Moon Comedy, also locals. 8 o'clock, Sunset Comedy. This show features authentic Caribbean food and drinks with a view of the beach. Camilla Cleese, you know her from the Fawlty Towers reboot. She's on the bill with a bunch of other comedians. Very nice. 8 o'clock, Ola Dada's Blackout Comedy. Also locals. 8:30, Comedy Bucket. Your favorite comedians leave their act at the door and do a set based on audience suggestions. Love it. Dave Merhedge plays at 9:30. Sarah Sherman, also at 9:30. All right, let's play the game where you and I are in Vancouver, and we're going to hit the comedy festival. Gianmarco's really good. I do want to see the locals. Let's do Gianmarco at 7 o'clock. Figure that goes an hour or so, and I think at the back end, we want to see Sarah Sherman at 9:30, so we're going to have to find like an 8:30 show. So let's do Comedy Bucket at 8:30, and we'll know that we have to leave early. Sorry, performers, but that's the way the schedule dropped. Just for Laughs Vancouver, looking forward to that one starting. From Brewbound, your home for comedy news, the legendary Zanies Comedy Club in Nashville, they've teamed up with craft brewery Tennessee Brew Works. They're going to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Zanies with a beer named Laughing Guy Lager. Brewed with 100% Tennessee-sourced grains, Laughing Guy Lager is a light-bodied lager with subtle malt sweetness, balanced by honeydew and a floral hop aromas and flavors. The finish is crisp, refreshing. It'll satisfy any beer drinker's thirst. 4.2% ABV. Ted Lasso is back, baby, March 15th. Apple TV still not saying that it's the final season. Don't you think if it were the final season, they'd be like, hey, final season of Ted Lasso? There's some speculation that the show will continue one way or another. If I'm Brett Goldstein, I am riding this thing for 15 years and then buying a house next to Kelsey Grammer. Know what I'm saying? Don't walk away from a hit show, people. Keep going. Joel McHale understands that logic. He's waiting for Community to come back. In the meantime, Animal Control, you know, the show that I've been calling, what was I calling it? Animal Cops? Pet Cops? I forget what I was calling it. Animal Control is the name of the show on Fox tonight. The AV Club saw it, and they said Joel McHale in Jeff Winger mode plays veteran Seattle Animal Control Officer Frank Shaw, a lone wolf stuck with an open-hearted rookie and former Olympic snowboarder nicknamed Shred. They look and act like TV cops, worrying about donuts, budgets, and drugs, except the show's about animals. Animal Control makes a case for cop shows without cops. They say Animal Control is a perfectly enjoyable sitcom and one that's destined to improve the further it gets into its run. All right, I might have to set the DVR for that one. I also got to watch Picard tonight. I'm going out to dinner. Busy night for Johnny Mac. Amber Ruffin, she's getting a sitcom from NBC. This one's called Non-Evil Twin. It follows a woman played by Amber Ruffin, good guess there, who's forced to step into her sister's role as the leader of a Fortune 500 company. Spoilers, wasn't that the plot of Knives Out too? She steps into her sister's role as the leader of a Fortune 500 company, despite knowing little about business and even less about the way her sister's been running the corporation. Are you in Salt Lake City? Former Utah Jazz All-Star Donovan Mitchell, comedy night. Yeah, you didn't expect that, right? All the proceeds will be donated to Kearns High School. On the bill, D. Ray Davis, Chris Spencer, and Earthquake. That is a good list. Let's finish up on Gossip Corner. Will Ferrell was pictured having a pint of beer with soccer fans. He was at Wrexham, you know, the soccer team Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney own. Will Ferrell was spotted enjoying a drink at the Turf Pub. He was also seen pitchside at the Racecourse Ground to watch the team's 3-1 victory in the National League match against Wealdstone FC. I suspect we'll see all this on an episode of Welcome to Wrexham in the future. In a video posted on the club's official Twitter account before kickoff, Will Ferrell asks, "Are we recording?" As he combs his hair with his fingers. After a long pause, he says, "Hi, this is Will Ferrell. It's my first time here. Where are we again? Wrexham. I'm really excited to see the match, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous." That's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow. Did you know you can name a cockroach after your ex-lover and have it fed to the animals at the zoo? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with 5 Good News Stories. It's a podcast twice a week where I tell you 5 good news stories, 5 fluffy stories. I just want to make you smile to start your day. I can tell you about a cat and a rabbit that fell in love, or I can tell you how porta potties are about to be a lot less horrible. What kind of show is this? It's called 5 Good News Stories. The number 5 Good News Stories. Follow it, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. 5 Good News Stories.